whichever the case may be. Good morning or good afternoon, whichever the case may be, depending on where you are across the country. We have extension educators from all over the place who are joining us today. We're so happy to have everyone here. And again, as you're just joining us, take the pre-training survey by clicking on the link or using the QR code that you see on your screen. Well, for those of you who are familiar with the Financial Security for All community of practice, so this group of extension educators from around the country who work in personal finance and consumer economics area, we've for years hosted a monthly webinar series, and we were delighted to have with us in May two of our presenters today who are with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and work with the Your Money, Your Goals Financial Empowerment Toolkit. And then we arranged to do this training series that we're having this week and next. So you may remember them from May, but I wanted to reintroduce to you Jill Wheeler and Cassie Russell. Jill serves as Senior Financial Program Specialist in the Community Affairs section of Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. She leads the Your Money, Your Goals program to promote financial empowerment and improve financial well-being for underserved consumers. She has over 20 years of experience collaborating with grassroots leaders to promote community economic development and civic engagement in the U.S. and in Latin America. Her past and current areas of focus include rural issues, migration, and limited English proficiency communities. And then we're also really delighted to have Cassie Russell back with us. She is an ICF contractor providing training and technical assistance on behalf of CFPB. And her work includes working directly with organizations who are currently implementing Your Money, Your Goals, so organizations like Extension. And she has extensive experience helping these organizations integrate financial empowerment services. She's partnered with hundreds of individuals on financial capability goals and brings her experience as a practitioner to training and technical assistance roles. She has worked with diverse sets of organizations, including Head Start and Early Head Start, community action agencies, multi-service organizations, tribal organizations, faith-based groups, colleges and universities. She's passionate about partnering with communities to address and remove barriers. And then we also have with us today Jenny Abel. Some of you may remember Jenny from her June financial security webinar presentation, and she was talking about her Planning Ahead program at that training, but she'll be talking about how she uses Your Money, Your Goals today. Jenny is a financial security outreach program manager in the Human Development and Relationship Institute with the University of Wisconsin-Madison. So thanks everyone for being here today.
Thank you so much, Laura. My name is Cassie Russell, and I'm thrilled to be here with you today. As Laura mentioned, I'm a contractor who supports the work of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and I'm going to get us started today. So before we go further, I do want to let you all know that everything I share today and my colleague Jill shares today is not legal interpretation, guidance, or advice. And what we share are our views that may not reflect the official views of the Bureau. Not so much today, but in future sessions, we might talk about links to third-party resources. And it's always just really important to note that there are many resources in the marketplace that might meet your needs or the needs of the people that you work with. I also want to let you know that today's session is being recorded. So if you're uncomfortable with that, you're welcome to leave now. If you haven't already, if you can grab the link for the pre-training survey, and it's okay if you end up doing it after, It's short, it's 5 questions. It just helps make sure that we are reaching our goals. It asks for your email, but it doesn't sign you up for anything. So if you'd like to sign up for emails, we're going to talk about how to do that at the end. Your email is just used to link your pre and post training survey, and we will show you the post training survey in session 6. So hopefully you'll be able to join us for that. So what are we going to do? Well, today we are going to go over what is the CFPB in case you're unfamiliar, and we're going to really explore the suite of resources and then look at the Bureau's role in enforcement and what the Bureau does when a consumer submits a complaint to the Bureau. Throughout the session, we are going to look at the toolkit, companion guides, and booklets, and really help you feel more prepared to use those tools in your work if you don't already. But we also want to get to know you. So if you can tell us in the chat your name and where you're located, that's great. And I see somebody chatted in about having a hard time with their own video, and that's just fine. We're glad you're here. We really want today and all of the sessions to be interactive. So we'll use the chat a lot. We know that you all are muted, but hopefully you'll participate with us here. So tell us your name and where you're joining from. And then if you have something specific you want to get out of the training, this is a great place to share that information as well. Great, welcome, welcome. Looks like we've got good representation in the Midwest. Welcome. Thank you all so much for being here. Wonderful. Okay, well, we're really excited to get to know you throughout the series, but now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Jill Wheeler, who leads the Bureau's Your Money, Your Goals work, and is going to share a little bit with us about the Bureau. So Jill, I'll hand it over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Cassie. And if you could hand over control, or I'll just ask you to advance, I think, for these next few slides.
Okay, great.
But just again want to welcome everyone on behalf of the CFPB and give a special thanks to Laura Hendricks, Suzanne Bartholome, many of you on this call who have been involved for many years collaborating with the Bureau and who helped to make this series possible. We're really so pleased to see so many familiar names and many new names as well. We hope there'll be some interesting updates for those of you who are familiar with the Bureau resources, and we hope that others will become more familiar and excited about using these resources and helping people understand the role of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Cassie, next slide, please. And let's see, just to briefly give an overview about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, we sometimes refer to it as just the Bureau or as CFPB. And we are excited to have you all working across the country help spread the word that we are here, we're active, we're protecting the rights of consumers and helping to enforce the law. We recognize that our agency is unfamiliar to many people across the country, but we are a federal agency created over 10 years ago to implement and enforce federal laws related to financial markets and services. We work hard to make sure that the financial marketplace is fair, that the prices and terms of the deal are known upfront, so people can really understand when they're making financial decisions, have all the information necessary to make the decision that works best for themselves in their situation to meet their own financial goals. We work to not only educate consumers about their rights and protections in financial topics, we have empowerment and training activities like this, and our other very important functions relate to enforcement and regulations. So our examiners and regulators work to enforce existing laws. You'll often see requests for information, comments on rulemakings, and so gathering input on what is happening across the country. So that will help inform the decisions and regulations. And then we want you all to know that if you see predatory actions or discrimination or something that is just not right in the financial marketplace, that you can reach out to us. Later, we'll talk about the complaint function, but throughout, all the contacts at the Bureau can help to share information with people who can take a look at what's happening and help to protect the rights of consumers and enforce the law if laws are being broken. Could we go to the next slide, please, Cassie? Oh, and if you'd like to put in the chat, I'd like to raise a question. When you hear financial empowerment, what does that mean to you? We love to hear a variety of interpretations. And as we wait for them to come in, excuse me, I see people mentioning taking control, making informed financial decisions, a lot of references to informed and understanding. So when we at the Bureau talk about financial empowerment, we talk about the financial education component of knowing the content. We also, through training, through all of the work of educators like you all, talk about helping people understand how to develop the skills and confidence to use that knowledge. So really, when we put it all together, it's both understanding the content and building the confidence and skills to really exercise those rights and make those decisions and be empowered to make those choices that best meet a person's own needs and goals. Next slide, please. And I see others are mentioned, controlling the decision, knowing about the opportunities. So in that case, we are really excited to be collaborating with leaders like you all across the country who are out in the communities, across states, towns, all over the country, who are in that trusted, important role of access, of sharing information so people have access to information, and also playing that important trusted role as a leader, a resource, a community member, a source of trusted information in communities. And we work to expand, the familiarity with our products and resources so people in that role of trust, who often convey important information about financial issues, maybe health issues, housing, are relied upon by consumers to serve as an important resource. So we work to really share these materials with you all so you can provide those financial empowerment opportunities in your daily work. I'd like to continue on and turn it back over to Cassie, who will walk you through some of the tools and resources in the Your Money, Your Goals suite of materials. So Cassie, I'll turn back to you.
Thanks so much, Jill. So what is Your Money, Your Goals? The CFPB provides free, trusted resources that you can order or download, and we'll show you how to do both those things later today, to organizations so that frontline staff, volunteers, consumer educators like yourselves can reach more consumers with accurate information. So tell me in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the most familiar, how familiar are you with Your Money, Your Goals? We recognize that there might be some new people, but that many of you are real experts and leaders in this work. So we also want to hold up those experiences. And I see some of our guest speakers coming in with 5s, and then we've got some new people and some folks in the middle as well. Great, welcome. Awesome, thank you. That's really helpful information to have as we go. So Your Money, Your Goals, some of you said you're very familiar, and you're probably thinking about the toolkit. So this is the large, comprehensive information for practitioners, and it was developed in partnership with practitioners and user tested throughout the country. It is not a curriculum. So that's something that we always like to highlight. And we'll look in detail at the toolkit in a moment. And then we also have 4 companion guides. And these help meet the needs of specific populations. So we have focus on Native communities, focus on reentry, focus on military communities, and focus on people with disabilities. And then we have 4 booklets, and these are small spiral bound selections of 8 tools to address a common financial concern. So we have Behind on Bills, Want Credit to Work for You, Building Your Savings, and Dealing with Debt. All of the materials are available at our website, and selected materials are available in Spanish, and then the toolkit is also available in Chinese. And I see the booklets getting a shout out in the chat, which is great. We'll look at each resource a little more in depth now. So the toolkit, as I said, is large. It's not a curriculum. It has 43 tools and handouts. And there's also recommendations of when you might want to use a specific tool based on the person's situation. One thing to note is that all of our materials are free to use. So if you want to use just the debt log from the toolkit, you can integrate that into handouts or packets that you use in your work. And we're going to hear from a guest speaker later who's done just that. So this is really meant to supplement the work that you're already doing rather than being an add-on. And then we have the companion guides. And throughout the series, we are going to look at tools from Focus on Reentry and also Focus on People with Disabilities. But you can download the full companion guides or specific tools from the companion guides on the website. So tell me, out of the companion guides, Focus on People with Disabilities, Focus on Reentry, and Focus on Military and Native Communities, which companion guide do you think would be most useful in your work? Focus on Reentry, great. We'll talk about tools, great. Focus on Disability, Reentry, someone's using it right now, awesome. Great. Great. Focus on Native communities, disability and reentry. Great. And we're going to showcase tools from Focus on Reentry and Focus on People with Disabilities, but Focus on Military Communities and Native Communities is also available online, so you can use those tools as you need them. Great. And a lot of you are already using Focus on Reentry, which is great to hear. Okay, we also have those 4 booklets, and these are designed for in-person use. There's not a virtual version of these tools. And same thing here, we want to know what comes up most in your work. So tell us what you already use out of the booklets or what you would be most interested in using. And as you do that, we're going to look at each booklet a little more in depth. So I see a question about Native communities is absolutely included. We just don't have time to cover all the companion guides and all the booklets. So we've just chosen some to focus on, but you're welcome to follow up with us by email or explore the resources on the website. Great. Okay, so our first booklet is Behind on Bills, and this really helps somebody create an action plan when they're having a hard time making ends meet. And it's available in both English and Spanish. And if any of you are working in correctional facilities where spiral binding is not permitted, you can order a special unbound version online. And if you need help with that, we're more than happy to connect individually to make sure that's accessible. Our next booklet is Debt Getting in Your Way, and this really helps somebody prioritize their debts and make a repayment goal based on their priorities. Then we have Want Credit to Work for You, and this helps somebody review their credit report, dispute errors, and make a plan for building their credit. And then lastly, we have Building Your Savings, which helps somebody think about how to use their tax return, where they want to keep their savings, and other savings related goals. In addition to these resources, I also just want to briefly mention that we have a lot of online resources. So if you are looking for things to post on your own social media or website, or if you're working in a hybrid environment, or maybe you have a texting service or a newsletter, you can use the links in the online resources to share information virtually. And we also have videos to spark action. And these are all around 3 minutes. And they cover a variety of topics. So these are great to play to introduce a topic and then follow up with a tool, but they're also great to, again, share online or play in a group setting. If maybe you feel less confident with some of the technical information about how to get a credit report, you could play this rather than sharing the information yourself. So throughout the series, we're going to use almost all of these resources, and we know it can be a little confusing. So we made a tool for you, and I am going to go ahead and attach that now. And so you should be able to download the PDF from the chat. So Rosa, unfortunately, the videos are only available in English at the moment. And at the end of today, we are going to show an email. So if you can email a request that you've used those in Spanish, that's really helpful for us to have as we look at what to make accessible next. And the Bureau has a renewed focus on language access and is really working hard to provide materials in a variety of languages. So please do share that request with the email box. Okay, so I've added a materials menu and a toolkit booklet crosswalk, and I'm going to walk you through how to use those now. So 1 second here. So we're going to look at the materials menu first, and again, that's in the chat, so you should just be able to download that. And all of the blue text is a hyperlink, so you can click on that. But what we have here is a description of each resource, and then by day, what we plan on covering. So today is session 1, we're getting started with your money or goals. So as we go, you can click on the blue text to access the tool that we're looking at. It's important to note that because the booklets aren't available in a digital format, it will just link to the complete booklet, and you'll need to get to the correct tool, which is listed here, the title, and we'll help you find that. One of the other things that we've done is that on the slides, you'll see a small image of the resource that the tool is found in to help you navigate. Okay, so it should be a PDF icon. So it should say materials menu, and then you'll just click to open. And it's in the chat. So it's not a traditional looking link. If you don't have Adobe, you might be having some challenges, but we can also email it out after as well. And then we also heard from some of your colleagues that it can be challenging to remember what's in the booklet and what is in the toolkit. So we made this simpler crosswalk to help you remember where to find things. So you can see the title of the tool on the left, and then the check marks indicate where it is found. And then you'll see some duplicate content, right? So for instance, setting SMART goals in the toolkit is called goal setting and behind on bills and goal setting and building your savings. So this is a resource that might be less helpful if you're new, but if you're more familiar and trying to quickly recall information, we hope that this will be helpful. Okay, yeah, we will work on getting those sent out after the session. And I am going to go back to the slides to talk a little bit about the organization of the toolkit. Okay, so in the toolkit, there are 9 different modules. Focus on Reentry has 10 modules. There's an additional module on background checks. Oh, good. I'm glad those are helpful. And when we get to some tools, hopefully it'll be clear where to find where things are as well. So the toolkit covers everything from setting goals to dealing with debt, consumer protection, which the Bureau calls protecting your money, getting through the month, and paying bills. So today we're really going to look at just getting started. And I just want to mention briefly that they're both tools, which is where somebody would add their own information, and handouts, which are more informational. And we are going to look at our first tools, which are from the toolkit. So you can see this image here in the top right-hand corner tells you that we are sharing information from the toolkit. And Jill is going to get started by telling us a little bit about what consumer protection is.
Thanks so much, Cassie. And we hope throughout the series, everyone will have a chance to get very familiar with where to find these different resources. And I think that the crosswalk is a really helpful addition. So Cassie, thank you for your work on that and the overview. I just wanted to, as we talk about Module 9, protecting your money, we'll highlight a couple tools. And when we say consumer protection, we found that it's helpful to really describe what we mean by that. Because there are many different interpretations. And so we wanted to just talk a little about what we mean when we say consumer protection. And to us, that really means that your money or consumers' money, that our money is protected from bad actors who don't follow the laws or the rules. That the prices, risks, and terms of any deals are clear up front. So when people don't have to struggle with the fine print, they can understand what they're getting into as they choose products and services, so they can make decisions that best meet their own needs. And when laws are broken, that consumers can exercise their legal rights. So now I'd like to ask Cassie to help play a video that will describe the Bureau's consumer complaint function. So we'll watch a video of just a couple minutes, and then I'll talk a little further about the process of submitting a complaint.
Having a problem with a financial product or service? The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or CFPB, can help. You can submit a complaint to the CFPB, and we'll work to get you a timely response from the company. We've already received more than 3 million complaints. Here are a few examples of the types of complaints that we can help you with. Credit cards, mortgages, and consumer loans like student and vehicle loans. Checking and savings accounts and money services, and credit reporting and debt collection. In addition to helping you connect with financial companies, submitting a complaint helps others too. Your complaints play a role in everything we do, helping us identify problems and prioritize our work. Submitting a complaint and checking its status is simple and secure. Remember, submitting a complaint to CFPB is always free. Before you start a complaint, try reaching out to the company directly. Companies can usually answer questions about the products and services they offer. If you're ready to submit a complaint, you can do so online or by phone. First, be prepared. The best complaints explain what happened, what you think would be a fair resolution, and what you've done to try and resolve the issue. Make sure to provide all the important information up front, because you usually can't submit a second complaint about the same problem. The fastest way to start is online at consumerfinance.gov/complaint. You can describe the problem and attach information. Be sure to include all the important details that you have, like the company name, dates, and amounts when you submit your complaint. Submitting online usually takes between 7 to 10 minutes. If you can't or don't want to submit your complaint online, you can also submit a complaint over the phone by calling us toll-free at 855-411-CFPB. When you call us, we can help you in over 180 languages. We can also take calls from consumers who are deaf or have hearing loss or speech disabilities. Submitting over the phone usually takes 25 to 30 minutes. After you submit a complaint, we'll send it to the company and work to get you a response. If we find that another government agency is better able to help, we'll forward your complaint to them and let you know. The company may contact you directly about your complaint before it responds. Most companies respond to complaints within 15 days. Sometimes companies need more time. If so, we'll let you know the company's response is in progress and to expect a response within 60 days. You can check your complaint status at consumerfinance.gov/complaint or by calling us at 855-411-CFPB. We'll also send you email updates along the way, so you know where you are in the process and what's next. Once we receive a response from the company, we'll notify you. You can review the company's response and share your feedback. If you give us permission, we'll publish your complaint without any personal information in our public consumer complaint database after the company responds. Remember, you can always find more information at consumerfinance.gov.
Great. So I hope that gives a helpful overview of the process. And I'd like to ask if anyone has ever tried submitting a complaint. We're always curious if people want to share their experiences. Feel free to drop a note in the chat, or if you've thought about a complaint but weren't sure where to go. And I see someone has said yes with clients. So that is really exciting to hear, because we find that we want to make sure that all consumers are represented in the complaints database. And I would love to hear more if you have any comments on how that experience went. I see someone else had their mom submit, and other great. I'm really pleased to see that we have participants who have had some experience submitting complaints, and we're always curious to hear how that goes and make sure that people are aware of that possibility. Could we go to the next slide, Cassie? And here is just another slide with the complaint contact information. I plugged the link in the chat. As you can see, online is the fastest way and easiest way to follow the process, but you can also submit by phone. They can take calls from deaf or hard of hearing consumers, and over 180 languages are available. Could we continue to the next slide, please, Cassie? And we just want to reiterate the wide range of topics that can be covered by the Bureau. So under debt collection, this could include a wide variety of products, from credit cards to payday loans, mortgages, auto, student loans, a variety of other private student loan debt, credit cards, also not just dealing with a credit card company, but credit reporting agencies, credit repair services. And we can place a link in the chat in a moment to show some information about how you can look at the database of what complaints have been filed. And you can search by zip code or state to see what are some of the most common complaints in your state or in your zip code. And one trend we have noticed is a large number of complaints around credit reporting issues, whether it's a challenge resolving something that's incorrect on a credit report or dealing with a credit reporting agency. So that may be helpful for you all to be aware of. And we handle other consumer reports like background screening, tenant screening, a wide range of mortgage issues, basic checking and savings accounts topics, prepaid cards, which are becoming more frequently used, payroll cards, and lines of credit, CDs. Let's continue on to the next slide, please. Again, we mentioned payday and title loans, personal loans, a wide variety of money transfer services. We, from remittances, mobile or digital wallets, refunds, traveler's checks, which seems old-fashioned now, but now as people are dealing with more virtual currency issues, we're keeping an ear out for what's happening on the ground in that area. And as you see, again, student loans and vehicle-related loans. But I do want to emphasize that as these complaints come in, one important piece of the process is us hearing what's happening in the field, and then others within the Bureau being able to do the appropriate investigations or enforcement actions. We use this to see trends, and it feeds into the Bureau's kind of how we prioritize work. I do want to emphasize, in the complaint process, there's no guarantee that the issue will get resolved in a customer's favor or that they will receive exactly the resolution that they're looking for. But really the complaint process is there to help make sure that everyone is following the appropriate steps, and the companies, if there is a dispute, the company is responding to the consumer's inquiries. So as you see here, again, the complaint is submitted, the Bureau routes it to the appropriate contact at a company. If it's not something we handle, we refer that to another appropriate government agency. In a pretty short period of time, the company will respond, and then that complaint gets published in the public database so people can see those trends. The Bureau can analyze those trends. And then as the company responds, the consumer gets to review that resolution and make sure they receive an appropriate response from the company. I'll continue on, and I see a couple comments about sharing. Oh, great. I see someone had a successful experience. One comment about incorrect capitalized accrued interest on a student loan. They filed a complaint, and the CFPB, in this process of communication, that was reversed. So great to hear that. And Laura mentioned this data can be used for analysis in a variety of contexts. So you might use that to look at what's happening in different data analysis that you're conducting as well. And if you ever want to get more directly in touch with our complaint or data analysis people, we would be happy to facilitate that connection as well. Now, I would like to turn it back to Cassie. And let me just double check. Cassie, you will jump in and highlight a few of the tools next.
Yes.
In some of the booklets on money conversations.
Thanks so much, Jill. And Jill, if you could add the link to the complaint database in the chat, I couldn't, since I'm sharing screen without it coming up. That would be great, because that is a public data source. It's really helpful, obviously, for research, but also for, individual work. If people are selecting a financial product or service as an informed consumer, they can go look and see if there are any trends with financial service providers in their area. You can go as specific as zip codes, so you can get some really localized data in the complaint database. But we want to look now at some tools briefly. We just wanted to note that this is the My Money Picture tool in the toolkit. And this helps somebody find where they might want to start in the toolkit using a series of yes or no questions. So again, we know that there are 9 modules and that it's rather large, and this can help you help somebody decide where to start. And then in the booklet, Behind on Bills, which you see the cover with the polar bear, we have a more visual version. So the booklets have adapted tools from the toolkit, and you can pick what tool you think will work best in your setting. And so this invites somebody to look at the different topics and circle areas that they feel good about and add a check mark where they have some concerns. So take a moment and look at the different images and think about what you would circle and what you would check. So we have housing, eating out, personal care, entertainment, childcare, pets, other, insurance, benefits, healthcare, job income, helping others, debt payments, childcare, donations and gifts, education. So it's a pretty comprehensive list in addition to having those other categories. And this can just help somebody sort of orient before they go into goal setting, which we're going to look at in just a moment. But I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and Jill and a guest speaker are going to share with us about how they've used your money or goals in their setting. So Jill, over to you.
Great. Thanks, Cassie. And next, I am so pleased to announce that we'll be joined today by Jenny Abel, who is Financial Security Outreach Program Manager at the Human Development and Relationships Institute. Jenny, I'd like to welcome you and ask you to tell us a little more about how you got started using your money or goals, your role. I know you've been connected and collaborating for many years, so would love to hear firsthand about your experience.
Yeah, hello everybody. Can you just confirm that you can hear me okay? When we were doing the sound check earlier, there was some issue.
And Jenny, if you can turn your video on, that would be great.
Oh no, still having issues. Okay. Oh, all right. Apologies. Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. Yeah, apologies that you won't get that, that I have to turn it off. We had some weather pass through here, a thunderstorm, but it's clear and sunny now, so I thought it would be fine, but oh well, that's anyway, to be with all of you. And as Jill indicated, I was involved in Your Money, Your Goals from pretty early on, starting in 20 is when that started. So I'm currently with UW-Madison Division of Shindig, but I've only been here for 4 years. And before that, I was with Virginia Extension as an agent in Arlington County. And while I used Your Money really extensively, my programs, and one of the successful was a partnership that we did with housing organizations that were locally owned between 25 properties in the county. And they were really interested in reducing rate of evictions and reducing the rate of people who having to pay their rent. So they're eager to have a
I think we lost Jenny.
Unfortunately, we lost her sound, so we might have to bring her back at another moment in the series.
Yes, and I can go ahead and jump into the goal setting tools, and maybe Samantha, if there's a way we can have her joined by phone potentially. But we know Jenny was really excited to share about a partnership with a housing agency to increase timely rent payments and reduce eviction using some of the Your Money, Your Goals tools. So hopefully we'll be able to have her share that information at a later time. So whether you're working with people on goals like eviction prevention or timely rental payment, we have a variety of tools that can help somebody think about their goals. And we always want to start with their own values and really have people identify the goals that are most relevant to them, because we know that that will help them be successful with their goals. So this is the goal setting tool from the Behind on Bills booklet. And if you have a paper copy of the booklet, it's the Iguana tool. And the front side always has a coaching question. So how have you helped somebody else reach a goal? And then it tells you what to do, usually in 3 to 5 simple steps. So we look at the inside, someone will add one thing they're proud of, one promise to themselves, one thing they'd like to change, and one dream they have. And then they also will add who can help them and a date to complete their goal. So we have a similar version of this tool in the toolkit, but now we want to look at putting goals into action. So this is in the toolkit. And here what we're going to do is think about a big goal like getting a job, getting a car, getting housing. These are goals that we hear a lot from folks, but it helps somebody really break these down into sub goals. So maybe if their SMART goal is to obtain employment by December 31st at the end of this year, they need to first reach out to their local work source agency to get help with a resume. They need to schedule time for childcare to be able to go to the library to write cover letters and apply for jobs on the library computer. They maybe need to come up with $15 so that they can get a state issued ID, so that if they do find employment, they're able to have that identity verification process done when you start a job. So this really helps somebody think not about just about those sub steps, but any resources they might need to complete those sub steps, a date to complete each step, and then who they will check in with. So we're going to do a little breakout room, but I think we're a little tight on time, and I want to make sure we have the opportunity to go through the closing and maybe hear from Jenny if she was able to join us back. So I'm going to turn it over to Jill, who's going to have us reflect a little bit about today's session and then talk about some additional resources and how also to use order the tools if you would like paper copies mailed to you for free. So Jill, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Cassie. And let's continue on to the next slide, please. So we'd like to ask, because we really want to be getting your feedback and adapting the training to really meet your needs throughout this series, could you let us know what is the most important thing you're taking away from today's training? And then after we see those, we'll ask, what is something you would like to learn more about? So is there something new or a topic that really caught your attention, a point, an issue, a tool, a resource that was particularly helpful to you all so far in today's session? And we can go right ahead and jump into what is something you would like to learn more about in the upcoming sessions. Really, we will be, covering the broad range of topics, but want to devote time to pieces that are most useful to you. And I see some interest in the booklets. Right. We see the booklets are very popular. Someone mentioned the variety of tools, the crosswalk, and we recognize it can be overwhelming. There are so many different tools and topics, and some are similar. So really looking at, helping you find them most quickly, or sharing some tips for which type of tools work best in different situations. Glad to hear interest in the booklets. The videos are new, and we are always interested throughout in hearing your input, because over many years, so many of you all have contributed important suggestions, done testing. We really try to incorporate that in the materials as we design and update them. So if you see a need for new formats or new content, please let us know. I'll share my email and our team email in just a moment. And some mentioned the spiral bindings, without the spiral binding for correctional facilities, looking at videos. Great, and we are certainly hearing a demand for more video content, and Cassie and colleagues are preparing some really creative, I think, new video materials that we hope we could share with you soon. And we will definitely be covering Spanish materials in an upcoming session. I'd like to go on to the next slide and just highlight a couple additional resources on the Bureau's website. You'll see one page related to a whole variety of coronavirus resources during the peak of the pandemic, and as rules were changing and protections were in place. That's a hub where we shared the latest rules around, accessing free credit reports or rent protection, protections for homeowners. And in a moment, I'll add a housing hub that we are continuing to add resources to, as we know housing issues are a really high priority and challenge across the country. And I want to highlight the Ask CFPB webpage, and we can put the link in the chat as well. But Ask CFPB is a great resource if you have a topic you're discussing with someone or curious to learn more about. You can plug in some questions in an easy way. There are lists of common topics. So if you're looking at auto loan related content, you can pull up resources related to auto loans or student loans or prepaid cards. So that's a great starting point to help answer questions, even beyond the Your Money, Your Goals, print and downloadable resources. And now let's go on to the ordering materials slide. So I want to recognize it's not always the simplest, most streamlined process. So we want to make sure that everyone comes away with a clear instructions for ordering. All of the materials are free and can be shipped for free. They're generally available in quantities up to 50 at a time. But if you need more, we can ship larger shipments. We just have to give that special approval. So we'll share the email if you have special orders, if you're doing conferences or large events or starting a series of interactions with people you serve. So the toolkit itself is available in English and Spanish. It's not as recently updated in Spanish. We're hoping to update that soon, but that will be a while, at a minimum 6 months. But we have made the most popular individual tools available for download on the website, and we can highlight those in a later session. The companion guides and booklets are also available. The toolkit and the guides come in a shrink wrap set, so you typically need to provide your own binders or 3-ring binders to use them. And the booklets come spiral bound. And let's go on to the next slide, please. And I see a set of comments coming in. We will cover Spanish resources in the 6th session, which I believe is a week from Thursday. And we'll have some public sessions on Spanish and multilingual resources as well. The Bureau is working hard to expand the range of languages for the most popular materials. And now to just touch on the ordering process.
Yeah, if I can just jump in. So after we touch on the ordering process, Jenny is back on the phone. So after we show how to order, we can end with her information.
Great, great. So we will also plug this link in the chat, but the Pueblo Government Printing Office handles all of our materials orders. So you will go through the link to their website and always look sort of on the left-hand side of your screen. You'll see a variety of Consumer Financial Protection Bureau materials, but always look for the Your Money, Your Goals heading. And then you'll see the range from, the booklets to the toolkits to the guides, and you'll select the number, select the item and the number that you want. You'll place that in a cart, and then you'll have to continue clicking through to check out. So make sure you go all the way through and enter to, do the final click to check out your full cart of materials. Shipping is taking about 4 to 6 weeks these days. It's down to about 4 most recently, but varies a little depending on demand and postal service. If you do need materials faster for a special training session you're running or event, you can email our team at the inbox Your Money, Your Goals at cfpb.gov and just flag that it's a materials order. So here I'll open it up to questions. We'll turn back to Jenny and you'll just see in that email us, that is our team inbox. So feel free to email with any questions about ordering, any suggestions about improvements or updates to materials. We really always appreciate your feedback. And Cassie, I'll turn it back to you and Jenny to continue. And then finally, the email list. If you're not on our main email sign up list, we do encourage you to sign up. And that link is in the chat as well.
Yes, thank you, Jill. You can also sign up by just going to the Your Money, Your Goals landing page on the right-hand side. But I believe we have Jenny back. So Samantha, can you unmute her line?
Hi, yep, I think I'm unmuted. Can you all hear me?
Perfect. Yes, much better, Jenny. So we only have a few minutes, but we heard you start to say or to talk about a partnership with a housing agency to increase timely rent payments and reduce evictions. So how did you use Your Money, Your Goals in that work?
Yeah, so thanks so much for your patience, everybody. Sorry about the technical difficulties. So just really quickly, what we did is we created a program where we had a seven-week course for tenants at the apartment buildings where we had alternating classes. So every 2 weeks we had a class with the tenants where we used Your Money, Your Goals materials. So the first class was on goal setting and budgeting. The second class was on credit and debt management. And the third was on saving and choosing a financial institution and covering submitting complaints if that was something that the participants needed to know about. So those classes happened every 2 weeks. And then in the intervening weeks, we had a team of volunteer financial coaches who went through training with me to become volunteers. And we paired them with one of the tenants, and they met with the tenants one-on-one in those intervening weeks to complete the worksheets in the Your Money, Your Goals materials and to complete specific action steps related to the topics that were covered in the classes. So when we talked about setting SMART goals and creating a cash flow budget or spending plan, the coaches worked with the tenants one-on-one on those particular tasks in between the classes. And then the seventh and final session was a celebration where we got to congratulate everyone on the great job that we did. And we followed up with folks 3 months and 6 months after the courses. And we found that it had just a huge impact on folks' ability to pay rent on time and to stick with their plans. And the apartment complexes were so excited about the program, the Affordable Housing Associations rather, that they included us in their community development block grant applications. And so we got consistent funding to support us doing those programs year after year. And I think that program is still going on. I hope so. I haven't been in touch with my old Virginia colleagues in a while, but I think that's still happening. So thanks for the opportunity to share. And again, sorry for the technical difficulties. Thanks for your patience.
No worries. Thank you, Jenny. And thank you so much for your work on that program. Today, we looked at some of those goal setting tools, and today was really just kind of an overview to get oriented to the different materials and get us started. But throughout this series, we'll look at some of the other tools Jenny mentioned, like creating a cash flow budget, much more in depth with some scenarios where we'll work through numbers and think about some of the things that come up when we use the tools with folks directly. So Jenny, thank you for your time today and sticking with it. And at this point, we have just 2 minutes left and we'd love to answer any questions. So you're welcome to raise your hand and Samantha can take you off mute, or you can type in the chat and we're happy to share. I want to mention, I know we've had a lot of questions about Spanish resources, which is really exciting. Jill already mentioned this, but our last session is going to be on multilingual resources, and we're also having a public webinar on that topic. So we'd love to have you join us. And yes, thank you so much to everyone who put in effort to host today, and to Laura and Suzanne for coordinating our guest speakers and helping us with the content behind the scenes. I'm going to turn it over to Jill for any final words. Jill?
I was just going to say really quickly, I put it in the chat, but I wanted to shout out to Samantha Barker and Andrea Price here, who are our Zoom gurus here with the University of Arkansas System Division of Agriculture Cooperative Extension Service. Thank them for supporting us. It's really nice when we can just show up and present and let them handle all the technical side of it. I'm Dr. Laura Hendricks. I'm the Extension Specialist for Personal Finance here in Arkansas, and wanted to also, again, thank, Cassie mentioned Suzanne Bartholomew, Iowa State University Extension Specialist, for helping us coordinate these as well. And then over to you, Jill, closing comments.
just one final word of thanks to our hosts. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us today. We're excited to hear more about your experiences throughout this session because we know that you have so much expertise and experience and really appreciate you all coming together with us to find ways that we can all work together and continue to build financial empowerment. So thanks again, and we look forward to seeing you back tomorrow. If you can't make every session, that's okay, but please come to as many as you can, and we hope to see you throughout this series. Thanks again, Cassie, for all of your work putting this together and presenting today. And to the team, we will see you back tomorrow. Have a great day.